I just wanted to say, first of all, I hope you're enjoying your meal and connecting with each other. My name is Rebecca Kelly, and I'm a director of Glandore, Susie Street, and Number 25. And as many of you know, I'm also Clare's sister. So I know you're dying to hear from our speakers today, and we are going to kick off our discussion very shortly. But first, I wanted to take a little opportunity to say a big thank you to Clare. So Clare won't tell you this, but she is the brains, the heart, and the soul behind Hear From Her, and without her, none of this would be possible. I hope you will allow me... I hope you will allow me a very short Proud Sister moment to say how fortunate I am to work with her and be inspired by her every day. I know the rest of the Glandore team and all of you here today will join me in thanking her for bringing us all together and to celebrate each other. So thank you, Clare. And I'm sorry for making you tear up. Yeah. Now, it is my great honour to introduce our wonderful panellists, and they really are wonderful. First up, we have Lorna Conn. Lorna is CEO and Executive Director at CPL Group, having joined as CFO in October 2017. CPL is Ireland's largest talent solutions provider and is a subsidiary of Outsourcing Inc., a Tokyo-headquartered, publicly listed organisation. Lorna has previously held senior roles in a number of public companies residing in both Ireland and America. Lorna is a Chartered Director and a qualified Chartered Accountant, having trained with Deloitte. You're very welcome, Lorna. Next up, Next up, we have Aine Kilkenny. Aine is a co-founder and Chief Operations Officer of Riley, a female-founded startup that provides sustainable organic cotton period products that are better for the body and better for the planet. Aine is an experienced marketing professional with a Bachelor of Arts in Marketing from DIT and a postgrad in Public Relations from the Fitzwilliam Institute. She has over 9 years' experience working in both startup and enterprise companies and has always had an interest in the health and wellness space, having studied nutrition and lifestyle coaching in her spare time. Going back even further, Aine is a fellow Loretto on the Green girl, and she and I spent almost all of our 6 years sitting beside each other every day. So it is a real privilege for me to have you here today. Thank you, Aine. And last but certainly not least, Mary McKenna. Mary is a Northern Irish serial tech entrepreneur and angel investor. She co-founded successful online learning company Learning Pool, which is based in Derry. Since selling Learning Pool, Mary has worked extensively with early-stage startups and scale-ups across the entire European ecosystem, and especially with female and first-time entrepreneurs. Hear, hear. In summer 2020, Mary co-founded social enterprise Awaken Hub, an all-Ireland female founder community. Thank you all so much for being here today, and I'm going to hand you over now to Clare and our wonderful panellists.
So Lorna, I might start with you, seeing as you're right beside me. We've had a lovely chat over lunch and talking about an incredible career and a really very fast track to the top. You became CEO of CPL at the age of 41. I'm sorry for giving your age as I've said it. Yeah. But an incredible fast track. And I suppose everybody is very familiar with CPL, but maybe not the sheer scale of it, the size of it. So you corrected me earlier in lunch, 14,500 employees across 50 locations, office locations in 13 countries. Yep. Am I right? Yep. Huge. And I suppose, you know, from chatting to you over the last year when we've met for the first time like a year ago and in various conversations, I know that hasn't come without a huge amount of hard work, but also seizing opportunities along the way. But I'd love for you to just take us back to where it all began and what might have inspired and fueled your ambition to succeed and lead.
That's a very good question. I think probably my own personal drive and ambition came as a child. So I'm one of 4 children, single income household. Didn't have a lot growing up, you know, didn't want for anything by no stretch, and had a privileged upbringing by comparison to many, many people. But I was always very conscious as a child about money and how we were going to pay for things, and I used to worry constantly about how I'd pay for bills. And it was only when I was slightly older that I realised, well, actually you can go out and you can earn money and you can take control of that side of your life. So financial independence and financial stability has always been huge to me. So I never wanted to rely on anybody other than myself. And I always felt that education was really the key to that. So from a very young age, there was just something in me. It was just this
very mature.
This thing that just propelled me forward. And, you know, I'm 43 now. I have 3 young children, 11, 9 and 6. And I would have thought that that thing inside me would have stopped. But it's not. It just keeps on going. I think, you know, I've gotten to a really nice stage in my career. I could just kind of not relax, you know, you're never going to relax at that level, but I can just be happy with what I have. But it's just something that's built in me and I can't stop it. And what I just try to do is build a life for myself, for my children, my family and my husband that allows me to feel fulfilled and to be all that I can be, but at the same time ensuring that the sacrifices that I have to make along the way to achieve success aren't so great that I can't raise a good family or have a nice home work-life balance. So it's always a bit of a struggle, but I feel when you do something that makes you feel a sense of fulfillment and gives you happiness and joy, that you know you can find your way and the sacrifices don't have to feel as great.
Yeah. And can I ask, along that journey, ascending the ranks over time, because obviously you worked in other companies apart from CPL, but joined CPL in 2017 as CFO and then on to CEO in 2021,
yeah.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
But along that way in ascending the ranks, like what were the challenges and did you have to seek out those opportunities? Did they, I don't think any opportunities really land on your feet, but how did that ascension?
Yeah, I think for me early on in Deloitte, I always remember, and I've always wanted to be an accountant. I think it's a wonderful qualification. So I was always going to go down the accountancy route. And I remember very early in Deloitte, when I would have been, early 20s, I would have tried to be kind of prim and proper and very professional. I kind of had one of those epiphanies where I thought, actually, the only way I can be is me and just be unapologetically myself. And that was the great eye-opener for me, because once I committed wholly to just being who I am, not trying to be something that I'm not trying to lead in a way that doesn't feel authentic to me, everything became so much easier, because I think we're in a new era of work and leadership where people want to follow individuals who are authentic and they can feel a sense of alignment to and a sense of resonance with. The old school command and control, it just doesn't wash with the new generations of workers, and that's not what people are looking for from a work-life environment. So first of all, I stayed true to myself, unapologetically me. I am who I am in terms of how I lead and who I am kind of day to day at home and with work with kids and working with my colleagues. And then I'm a real grafter. Like, I work hard. My biggest fear in this world, obviously outside of the kids, is a sense of failure. So everything I do at the core of it has this sense of purpose. I just have to succeed. I just cannot fail. And then over the years, where I would have worried about not being able to do something or get through a task or a challenge, every single time, my motto in life is, if there's a will, there's a way. Every single time I've found a way around the obstacle, and that gives you a kind of a sense of confidence. Like, at the end of the day, I'm not saving lives. I'm not changing the world. I'm just going out there trying to do a good job and do good work for the salary that I earn and have a career that makes me feel proud. But I've worked hard to be able to switch off at the end of the night, because you remind yourself, to my point, I'm not saving lives. I'm just, I'm out there working, contributing to business and to society in my own small way. But, nothing so nuclear that I have to lose sleep about it at night. It's just trying to achieve that balance.
Yeah. But obviously you've seized a lot of opportunities along the way and continue to. And I suppose one of the big opportunities was becoming CEO. And it came at a very pivotal point in CPL when it was acquired, and you were very heavily involved in that acquisition with Outsourcing Inc. Like, what excited you and what daunted you, I suppose, in taking on that role?
So I suppose the excitement piece was the fact that it felt like such a natural evolution. I'd been with the business at that time probably 4 years, and we've a really strong culture in CPL. It's entrepreneurial in spirit. It's very much open doors. It's transparent. We've got a great heart. We, have people at the centre of everything we do. So I felt like a really strong cultural fit from day one. Like the minute I walked into that business, I thought, oh my God, I'm home. It actually pains me to think of a day that I might leave CPL. So I've had that love and that connection with CPL from day one. And when I joined, and I would have laughed with Aine about this afterwards, I never wanted to be a CEO. I only ever wanted to be, the right-hand woman to the CEO and support them in a financial perspective. But as I got closer to the business, I began to believe that I could add my own value, and I think it's only when you love something so truly that maybe being a little in the shadows is not the right thing to do. You want to get out there in front and be part of creating the next legacy in terms of CPL. So I think that that was the huge excitement for me, was being able to lead a company that I love and people that inspire me every single day. The challenge, obviously, we had a new ownership structure. Before we were publicly listed, we had huge autonomy. We were bought over by a Japanese company, different culture, different set of people that we had to kind of get to know and find a way to work with. And, almost on the first day, they kind of said, in a very lovely, respectful way, and the Japanese are just a beautiful people, said, you are going to enjoy much less autonomy. And they didn't mean it in a bad way, but I was like, oh my God, what have we done? They were just so matter of fact, There's a delegation of authority matrix, and you live and die by that delegation of authority matrix, because that's just how they control such a large organisation. Like, we're one of 250 sister companies. They operate in 39 countries. They have 130,000 staff across the world. So, how else do you manage an organisation that's so dispersed, so geographically dispersed? So once we got over kind of the trauma of that, we then found a way just to kind of build trust. And since they acquired us and it became public in January 2021, I always find that you build trust by proving yourself. So each month, another good set of results. Each month, we give them early warnings on red flags. There's no surprises. That's not how we like to operate. So all of that bit by bit built trust, and to a point now where they would say that we're, God, I hope there's no other subsidiary here, we're the most important subsidiary to them today. So that's been a wonderful journey to go on with them. They're happy they've bought us, and we've found a rhythm and a way of working with them that has been working really well.
And so obviously it's been a very successful first year in office, and actually I don't know if anyone has noticed or saw it in the Business Plus, but Lorna was named one of the top 10 CEOs in Ireland this year. A round of applause. And that must have been such a proud moment for yourself, but also for your family. They must have just been
Well, it was funny because I was sitting in my office in Merrion Square, and I got tagged in a post, and I read it, and I was like, oh my God, they can't possibly mean me. I had to read it 2 times to be sure. Now they're picking, I suppose they're plucking from a small pool.
But the company is Adair Fox Martin from Google, Margaret Heffernan Dunn Stores, Siobhan Talbot Glanbia. The list goes. There's 6 others.
Look, I wouldn't even put myself in their league or their sphere, but
something to
I
be
did
very
get
proud
excited.
of.
I did have a frisson of excitement.
Good. And so, looking back, obviously a year in the role, a little over a year now. What's been the highlights for you?
Okay, so probably there's been I think the best highlight for me, and I probably can't pinpoint it, but it's that sense, that kind of intangible sense that everybody has been happy with the change. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily about the change in CEO. It's about the enormity of somebody following Anne's legacy. It's it's almost an incredible task for anybody to overcome. And the reason why I feel it's worked out in the manner that it has is because I was around for 4 years. There was no surprises. You know, I had a lot of good relationships there already. Half the time it's better the devil you know. So they all knew me. They knew they knew the way I worked. And I think OSI came in at a point where it coincided with that leadership change at the CEO level. They came in and they basically said to us, we want you to double the business, which was incredibly liberating and galvanizing as an executive team, because before we were publicly quoted, you know, you wouldn't have gone out with big statements like that to the market, we're going to double the business. Whereas now we're privately held, we can be a bit braver in a much more discreet way. So that was a real energy creator for all of us, because then we immediately started thinking about how can we have transformative growth. It's not about growing with the market 5, 6, 7%. It's about doubling the business in 5 years. So that helped me as a new CEO create a story that I could get people excited about kind of the next chapter of CPL, because it wasn't just about the change in CEO, it was about the change in parent company and the fact that we were part of a Japanese business. So I found that, I suppose, the transition really from my old role into the new role has been just a wonderful experience for me from start to finish. Couldn't have hoped for anything.
And better. Running a very different business now in terms of, you know, obviously with all the growth plans, it's a new legacy that's being left behind.
Please God. And for the group executive team, because I inherited a team, 4 or 5 of them have been with the business 20, 25 years, you know, so like it's lovely for them to feel like they've got another chapter having been with the business. Just keeps things exciting and keeps things fresh.
But Lorna, dealing with the stress associated with the role as well, how do you manage that? Obviously, we talked about the number of employees. Obviously, you're not, you know, a direct manager to all of those employees. But how do you switch off? How do you look after your mental health and your physical health?
So I'm a big walker. And I'm sure, like my mother even would say, oh my God, how you're not fired from your job yet, I do not know, because I get about 20,000 steps in a day, and that's honestly...
I've stopped wearing my Fitbit because it only I thought it was broken. It was like 1,000 steps.
You're missing a couple of digits. It's so funny. But I am absolutely convinced that it's the walking that keeps me happy and sane all day long, because Jeff, my husband, very 50-50 at home, couldn't do my job without him, so it's just a given. Like, he's doing at least 50% of everything to do with home life, children, etc. So he brings the kids out as soon as they're gone 8:15 to school. I'm out the door, and you know, you can get an hour in quickly, and then it's just about getting another hour at some point throughout the day. And every single time I can feel my mood lifting as I keep going through my hour walk. By the time I'm back, I'm feeling positive, good, and
re-energized.
Re-energized, exactly. So I think that's the one thing that I do. And back to my other point, I just remind myself I'm not saving lives. Like, and I don't mean to be flippant or dismissive, but nobody is going to benefit or gain from me going to bed and not sleeping at night, stressing about the job. Like, you know, nobody's going to be any the better for that. So I just try. I'm pretty good at
compartmentalizing.
I have to say, yes. So far, so good.
That's definitely a theme or a trait that I have heard in other people in CEO level. It's just that you need to compartmentalize it. You have to be able to switch off to keep your sanity. Can I move on from the corporate world to the startup world with Aine? Aine, you founded an amazing business, which we're very proud to be stocking in the toilets inside. Riley, with your 2 co-founders, but also really good friends, childhood friends, Lauren and Fiona. And you've had unbelievable growth. So I came across you probably last year for the first time, but obviously, and relatively new. Set it up in 2021. You had like 12x growth last year, 90 corporate clients, like incredible success. Tell us about how it all got inspired over a glass of wine. As all good ideas.
I was just about to say, all the best things happen over a glass of wine. Myself and my 2 co-founders, so Lauren and Fiona. Lauren is a childhood friend of mine. We grew up together, and Lauren and Fiona actually went to secondary school together, and I was introduced to Fiona when we were like very young through Lauren. So we knew each other really well. And we were together one night. It was actually during lockdown or just after, when you could kind of have small groups, and we were in my house here in Dublin, and it was just the 3 of us. We were having a few glasses of wine, and I got my period, and I searched the whole house. every coat pocket, every handbag, and had no tampons, no pads, no nothing. And we were like, how is this happening? We're 3 women in our like late 20s, early 30s. This pretty much happens to us every month without fail. And we had no products. So that kind of, well, it ruined our night number 1 because we had to put the glass of wine down and off we went to the shop. But it kind of made us think, you know, and that's really where the subscription service side of things came. We were like, you know, like, can we just get these delivered? This should be simple for us. You know, this should be an add-on onto our busy lives that we're already leading. So we then looked into the products, and really we fell down a rabbit hole. What are in these mainstream period products? What are in the period products that we have been using for the last 15 or so years, and that we're putting in our bodies every day? And we were just shocked to find that, you know, the toxins, the chemicals that can be in these mainstream period products, and we just felt so passionately about it, and we couldn't find anything that would suit our schedules, that would suit our busy lifestyle, something that would be better for the environment and better for our bodies as well. So we decided to do it ourselves, and we came up with the idea in that December, and we said, like, are we being crazy? Let's give ourselves Christmas, and we'll have a little think about it, and we'll come back in the first week of January. And we sat down in January, we were like, absolutely, couldn't feel more passionate about it. Actually, it's just been bubbling up inside for the week or so that we left each other. So we got to work. We worked evenings, weekends. We all had full-time commitments, and we launched the business in April, so just under 4 months later. Riley was born in the April 2021.
Which is incredible, like incredible turnaround.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
So excited. Yeah.
And what I love is the education piece, and you know, also the liberty to start talking about female health. You know, it's very empowering and liberating. I'm constantly telling everybody about you, and it's wonderful. And I think that is really important to you and the girls.
Yeah.
Tell me how it was with the investors, because you raised some money last January.
Yeah.
How did that go on? You know, were those conversations? Was it easy to convince, or was it a challenge? Because as we know, and Mary will talk to us about angel investors, a lot of them are men, and they don't necessarily get how, you know, the challenges that we might have every month.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I never thought I would talk about my period so much in my whole entire life, honestly. But I have to say, yes, as you said, we raised 775k in total last year. It was a mix between angel investors and crowdfunding as well. We chose crowdfunding because it's a really nice platform to get so many people involved. And we were such a young business as well that we had a lot of people that wanted to get involved for different amounts, and we wanted to, you know, create a vehicle that everyone could get involved with us as well. And then when we actually launched the product to market, or on the platform, our first investor was a customer. And that was just incredible for us. And we are a very customer-centric brand, and we launched our brand very much as an MVP. And I know most people talk about tech MVPs, but we just wanted to get the product to market as soon as possible so we could start understanding what our customers wanted, what they were thinking.
Can you explain the MVP just
in
case?
It's called a minimum viable product. So it's usually a tech product, but we wanted to do that just to get the product, get our website live and get the product into people's hands so that they could give us the feedback and we could start to tweak that. So for example, when we first launched the brand, we packed boxes for night and day in my home. We packed boxes, and they were very, you know, there was 24 products of this. They weren't really catering for what every woman, because as we all know, every cycle is completely different. And that was a lot of the feedback that we got, was that women wanted, you know, they wanted a range of products, they wanted different absorbencies, but they wanted to choose it themselves. So we changed that on the website, and that was really important to us. We spent months actually ringing customers. And I don't know if anyone has ever done that before, but actually ringing your customer is such an odd experience. No one wants a phone call anymore. So we were ringing them saying like, "Hi, this is Aine from Riley, your period subscription." They were like, "Who are you?" Like it's like the founder of Netflix ringing you, like obviously on a smaller scale. But yes, like the customer side was really important. So we found that crowdfunding was great for us. In terms of our investment and that journey that we went on, we've actually been so supported by the Irish network, I have to say, and both men and women alike. And we were delighted to welcome like both female and male investors onto our cap table, and especially in environments that even some of our females hadn't invested before. So that was great for us, and to work together with that as well. But also, to be honest, when we were pitching, a business is a business, and I think people kind of understand that. Once we kind of got into the flow of, you know, oh my God, we're talking about our periods here, like I think everyone just understood it. And I think that as well, it's part of what we want to do. Like, we want to break this taboo that none of us are talking about our periods, and we're putting tampons up our sleeves as we're running out to the bathroom in the office, things like that. You know, this is a normal bodily function, and it should be treated as so. So I think we feel very passionately about that too. And the education that we're trying to do in Riley as a brand is really focused around, you know, that, and you know, talking about our periods, talking about our female health journey, and really what we're going through. And I think that community that we're building, and that even what we've built so far, are really engaging with that. And you know, people are talking about it now, and we've even seen it. We were on the, you know, in different environments when we talk to different people, and they're all saying, yeah, like, I know this period brand subscription, like, it's just something people wouldn't have talked about before. So we're getting there. A lot of work to do, but
huge
we're getting
amount.
there.
But also, you're giving back as well, and so you have a charity partner. And so I suppose we could talk about the charity partner, but also period poverty, obviously globally, but in Ireland, is it a big issue? Like, okay.
Huge. So we always said from the beginning, when we set up this business, that we want to do well in business, but we want to do well in the world. Between the three of us, we don't believe in, you know, just doing well ourselves. We very much want to give back. So it's always an easier thing to do when you're setting up a business, to start that from the beginning rather than dial back and try and see what you've done before. But obviously, we just built it in from the beginning. So we've partnered with two charities, one being Development Pamoja. So €1 from every box sold goes to Development Pamoja, which is an Irish registered charity in Kenya. And how we partnered with them was that my co-founder Fiona actually volunteered there on her way back from traveling. So they're a charity really close to our hearts. And we sponsor menstrual education programs there. So 10 schools that we partner with, and there's doctor-led school visits there where they educate the boys and the girls about menstrual health, and also provide product as well, because 65% of girls in Kenya miss school because they don't have the products, because they mess their uniform. So that's a huge problem. It's not just about their period, it's about missing out on their education. So we've partnered with them since day one, and they're an ongoing charity partner of ours. And it's amazing to see the work. We have a WhatsApp group with Dr. Mary, and we cry every time she sends the photos in, but it's beautiful. And then we also partner with Clare in Positive Period Ireland, which is a grassroots organisation, volunteer-led, here in Ireland. So we work with her to donate product to refugee centres, domestic abuse centres. She will point us in the right direction on where the product should go, and the best use for it as well. So that's always been really, really important to us.
That's incredible.
It's been good.
Another round of applause, because it is just lovely to have built that in from the ground up, and obviously to make such an impact already, even though as a young company, to be able to make that impact so quickly. Three friends starting the business together, and you've each carved your own role. We have three sisters in our family. We've found our way into our roles. So tell us how you've carved out your roles within Riley as co-founders.
Yeah, it's actually a great question. So I think part of starting a business is knowing yourself really well, or not even starting a business. I think in any career, just knowing yourself really well and knowing your strengths. So when we got together, Fiona had a digital marketing background. She's an expert in all things branding, digital marketing. She's phenomenal. And so it was normal or natural that she would go into that role. So she looks after our D2C side of the business. Lauren had spent 7 years in London in a sales role in a tech agency, so it was perfect for her to go into, you know, the B2B, the corporate side of the business. So she looks over our revenue on the corporate side, and then I had a house big enough for the product to sit in, so I became operations manager. I became operations manager. I had done operations in previous roles and strategy, and that was naturally going to be where I fit as well. And to be honest, at the beginning it was chaotic between the three of us. We were stepping on each other's just chose to no end, and we were trying to figure out what, where the business was going to go and what our strengths really were. And we worked together to figure that out and to divvy up those roles as well. And I think it's really important.
It's brilliant. And did you get any outside support in terms of coaching around that as well?
Yeah, we did. And so obviously 3 friends going, like 3 sisters going into business, you have to be so protective of the relationship that you have with each other, especially when they're people you grew up with that you adore. And but I think that the trust that you have starting off is second to none. So you already have that trust and that love for each other. So, when you come to times of conflict or that you need to work through things, the baseline is already there. You already have that, and you trust each other. So you can really have those open and honest conversations. We did get help. We got business coaches to coach us along the way. I would highly recommend getting business coaches or mentors in that, because it really did help us to come together as a leadership team rather than 3 individuals working in the business. And it was really important to us, and it's so fun. Like I forget to mention that.
And you always enjoy a glass of wine.
Exactly. What's the next business going to be over the glass of wine?
Can I ask you, just, you talked about the supports in mentoring, coaching. What other supports did you avail of along your journey? Because I know that we've got some participants from Going for Growth and Starting Strong in the audience as well, and they're very, they're hugely powerful in, encouraging that ambition and growth. So what did you avail of?
Yeah, so we started our business as part of the NDRC Pre-Accelerator. So that was the first pre-accelerator they've ever done. And we were partnered with Republic of Work down in Cork, because our business is Cork-based. So we started off with that, and that was brilliant, just to even get us in the rhythm of, entering into the founder environment. And I have to say, the support system in Ireland and Northern Ireland is second to none, and people just really, really want to help. You can reach out to anyone over LinkedIn or through like a very cold introduction, and they will help and they will support you. So we did the NDRC Pre-Accelerator, and then between the 3 of us, we've done different programs. So I've done the Entrepreneur Experience, which is out of Cork, and Fiona's did the Going for Growth as well, that she spoke so highly of, and I know that she's gotten a wealth of knowledge from there. And we have just become part of the Endeavour program, which was 5 female-led companies chosen to take part in this global program, and it's ourselves, Chupi, and 3 other tech-based companies as well. So we're absolutely delighted to be part of that.
Mentored by Anne Harity.
Yeah, exactly. I know, it's so funny, isn't it? Yeah, it's like we're just going around in circles. No, it's amazing.
There's so much actually. We've got on to Mary now. Actually, you were the first. Such a small world. You mentioned you were a first customer of CPL in Belfast, in Derry. Am I right?
That's right. Yeah. That's right, Clare. Yeah.
So you have done it all, Mary, in terms of corporate world, finance director.
You're making me feel really old.
No.
Also,
you just crammed it all in.
I've got a few. I've just got a few things to say. Like, so everybody in the room, can we hear it for Rebecca and Clare for bringing us all together today? And secondly, is there anybody in this room that doesn't want to employ either Lorna or Aine? And the last thing I'm going to say
I think they're too expensive. You couldn't afford them.
The last thing I'm going to say, who in the room is an entrepreneur or would like to be an entrepreneur? So the 2 things are different. If you're an entrepreneur, you'd like to be one, put your hand up. Oh, a small little number of people, but there's a few out there,
Too shy.
Too shy. It's not a trait.
But you started. I'm dying to hear more about, and I've had the benefit of having prior conversations with you, Mary. But you started your own business at the age of 43.
Yeah, which I think is a really important thing to mention in a room full of women, because. Not that I like to talk about my age, because that was like a long time ago, but a lot of women think that they're too old to start a business when their children are grown up and whatever. It's absolutely not the case. It is the best time to start. When you've got all those other things out of the way, then you can focus on putting your energy into starting a business. 43 is the best age,
Started.
Sorry, Anne. So 43 is a key
I've got a couple more years. So you started Learning Pool in 2006, so that was your first business, which went on to great success. Like you really, struck gold, in your first business. And tell us about the business, first of all, just for people who aren't familiar with it.
It was an online learning business, and it was probably, now that we've all been through COVID and everything that's happened as a result of online training through COVID, it was probably a little bit ahead of its time. But we introduced it shortly after broadband had become available to everybody, and so everybody remembers those DVDs that people used to have for training, and companies would have them printed or burned, and then 2 minutes later they were out of date and they were all thrown down the back of the sofa. So having something that you could update and whatever, and those type of like knowledge sharing businesses were really, we were early days with that, early days with that sharing community, and it worked out well. My co-founder, I sold my half of the business to my co-founder, and he sold it last year to a Californian private equity house for 170 million euro. So he's done really well. But I sold my shares. Sold my shares 8 years ago, and I was happy enough with what I made out of it, and happy enough to be moving on to doing something different.
And so since then, so you exited in 2014, and you've since gone on to be an angel investor to more than, is it 20 odd startups.
Not
from
invested in Riley yet, but train back to Belfast later, so who knows?
This is very strategic. I hope you know. So 20 or so, but startups, tech, beauty, athleisure wear, so across a broad spectrum. What drove you into the angel investing?
So, I think it's really important for women to invest in other women. And I'm looking at all of you out here today, and I'm looking at particularly at Nora, because I know that she's a big supporter of this. But so many women that I meet that have businesses, and I'm sure that Aine would support this, the people that invest in their businesses, even femtech products like Riley, the people that their investors are men, because men see the upside, the opportunity, the way that they're going to be able to make money from it. Women just maybe look a little bit more like, oh, there's a risk involved and maybe they're not going to go anywhere and blah, blah, blah. But men see the opportunity and they put their money in. And we as women really, really need to start doing this. Ireland is way, way behind other parts of Europe and certainly the United States in terms of angel investment. There are I can tell you there are 6 women that invest in Northern Ireland, and I know the other 5, and that's it.
Yeah. So what is it that is putting people out? It's the risk is the big thing, I think. So
women are the homemakers and the people that have to think about the rainy day. So they worry about whether or not they've got that rainy day money for if the family needs it or whatever. Men don't think about that. They just think, here's an opportunity, let me invest, I'm going to make some money from this.
And so with your focus, what do you look for in a startup? What are your tick boxes when you're reviewing a startup?
I look for all the amazing things that everybody looks for. I look for a global market that's huge. I because it's me and it's my money, I sort of look for things that I can relate to. So a lot of the businesses that I've invested in, I can imagine myself, or I already do use the products. But on top of that, I invest against 3 things. I only invest in women founding teams, in products that are going to make the world a better place, and in something that through my experience or my network, I can add value to, because I think that's a really important thing as an investor, is to bring some value to the table. It's not just about money, ladies. It's about bringing your experience and your network and helping that founder get going, because everybody knows that startups are a very difficult place to operate in, and they need all the help that they can get. So, putting a bit of oomph behind it.
And you're not just giving help to the startups for return, you're also doing a huge amount of pro bono work. And I was saying, you know, you are everywhere, global, like supporting women all over the place. So it's incredible. But in summer of 2020, in the middle of lockdown, you and four friends came together to set up Awaken Hub.
Yeah, so
and
it's very similar story to
Mary
to
here as
Anya.
well
Yeah,
today.
Mary Carty's here today as well as one of my co-founders, but it's a very similar story to Anya's. You know, you sit around and you chat with your friends about what you could do together, and do you want to work with your friends because you've known each other for decades, and you think, wouldn't it be really cool if we could do something different together and actually make, you know, have an enterprise or have a venture. So that's what we did. We thought that there was a gap in Ireland for founder communities for women. There's loads and loads, and everybody knows there's tons and tons of women business networks, but ours was more about women that want to build a scalable business. So, you know, the women that are building lifestyle business, there's nothing at all wrong with lifestyle businesses, they're brilliant. But for women that are building investable, growing, scalable businesses, there's nothing really, and there isn't. The way that our agencies work, and I know that there are a lot of agency, I'm looking at Terry, there's a lot of agency people here in the room, but they don't encourage women to network across the island, and I think that's really important.
Yeah.
You know, our LEOs and our Enterprise Island networks are all very county driven.
Yes.
And so if Nora's starting a business in Leitrim and I'm doing something in Donegal, Enterprise Island are never going to introduce us.
Yeah.
You know, it's up to us to find each other. So that's what Awaken Hub does. It helps the women across the island find each other, work out what they can do together so that 2 + 2 = 5, and it's a bigger opportunity for everybody.
Well, I think that's amazing, and it's something that we're very passionate about is connecting our network together. And I know that, Roseanne, you've been working very hard to do the same, connecting the women in business and I with the female leaders and scale-ups in the south as well. So it's incredible. And tell us, in terms of Awaken Hub, so how has it grown? So it started off with an idea to bring together this female community, but it's grown since then. Mary's working. She's on the clock.
But it started off as a casual monthly Zoom call just for women to connect and say hello to each other and chat together in the breakout rooms. And here we are 2.5 years later. We've got 3,000 members. We've got a global ambassador who's based in New York City. We took 6 companies out to New York last month. They all pitched, and they all have had investor interest. So, you know, it's just about getting behind women and helping them move things forward. As a social enterprise, it's really important. Yeah.
And you've set up an accelerator as well, the She Generate, which is in its second cycle.
Yeah.
And that's grown
Against
now.
the odds. Yeah.
Again, but that's an all-Ireland
So,
online accelerator.
Year 1, 56 women came through, newbie entrepreneurs, and this year we have 31 women, so at the end of it we'll have over 80 early stage women will have graduated from our accelerator. At a time when governments, north and south, are cutting back on what they invest in terms of accelerators, you know, it's great to be able to offer something, and we're very grateful for all the people that have sponsored us and given us a bit of their back of the sofa monies, you know.
Yeah. And tell us, so the other thing is the fund, and this is what I think is really exciting in Awaken Hub. It's connecting female founders with female investors, and looking to demystify the world of investing, because I know for myself, you know, I don't talk about investing in my peer group at all. I don't know if anyone else in the room is the same, but we just don't talk about it, and I don't think we'd know even where to start if we wanted to.
I'm looking over at Roseanne, because it's something that Roseanne's been pushing this for years and years and years, and nobody ever listens to her, but you know, it's such, but she keeps going because it's such a great idea. So we, like a little story about this, for Awaken Hub for 30 months or whatever it is we've been going, all of our speakers have been women. It's all been women that have spoken, except for one night we had a manel. We thought it would be fun to invite 3 men and make a bit of a joke about it. And so we had an all-male panel. And the next day, those 3 men phoned us and said, we'd love to invest in all the businesses that we met in the breakout rooms last night because they're all incredible. So again, it's about unlocking angel investment for women. So what we want to do is we want to launch a woman-led, not women only, but a woman-led angel syndicate to try and get our male allies working with us to support women founders. And as I said, we took 6 companies to New York last month. Lots and lots of interest from our diaspora in terms of investing. Because, you know, all of us go to the diaspora with our hands out. Can you help us with this? Can you do this for us for free, for free, for free? Imagine if we give them an opportunity where we say to them, this is an opportunity. We're not coming out with our begging bowl. We're asking you to invest in our women founders. They couldn't get enough of it. They were really, really excited about the idea of investing money, but also investing their time and energy in helping women founders get started in the US. So I think it's time's right, Claire.
And I suppose it's the power of the network as well. You know, the connecting the friends, you know, you're all coming with wide networks, and it's just bringing that together. And I think it is, yeah, for sure, the time is right. I want to just bring in the audience because I'm conscious of time. And I what about you, Aine?
I think in terms of like just taking the business, we have very ambitious goals from where we want to bring the business. Our mission is to be a global lifelong brand for female health. So it's so funny that you said that. So we want to be with women through all stages of their life cycle. So we started off with period care. It's by no means the end. And we're raising money at the moment to be able to really look into what we're doing next for a new product development. And really, we want to get to the menopause before we get there as well. So we need to, you know, have...
For the other 1,000.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
It's only your first business.
I know, and that's the thing. So in terms of Riley, and the other thing is global, like very much global vision for Riley. We've started off in Ireland. We've been so supported here. We're live throughout Ireland, the UK, and Europe. However, the UK is a huge focus for us this year. I'll be moving there later this year myself to focus on sales, and then, you know, the world's our oyster for America, North America, wherever is the right place for us at the right time. Personally, I feel like this is just the beginning. Like, I'm not meant for the corporate world. I'm definitely not meant for that. I'm meant for the startup world. I'm meant for the chaos. I hope I'm going to have the energy for it for the rest of my life, because I don't know if I will. I'm exhausted all the time. But yeah, for me, this is like just the beginning. I want to be able, I have what a day in the life of 65 looks like for me, and it's just being able to give back as much as I can, work with other startups when I get to that stage that I actually can give back knowledge and hopefully money as well someday. But yeah, it's like, I just want to be able to really give back and to build a lot of the community that you're building as well, and to help in that too. I think it'd be amazing. There's so much out there.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Roseanne. Sorry, I've got my back to you as well. Sorry.
Just something I'm very curious about. Where did the name Riley come?
We get asked that all the time.
I keep calling you Aine Riley.
Yeah. Or like between the three of us, usually someone just says like, oh, hi Riley, or whatever. We'll just answer to it at this stage because like they can. So we wanted something that was inclusive in terms of not masculine or feminine, that was inclusive for that. And then it's a play on the saying, the life of Riley, which means a carefree and luxurious existence. And that's what we want to give our customers.
Gorgeous.
And yourselves.
And ourselves. Yeah. Hasn't happened yet.
Nora.
Is there anyone else? Oh, sorry, you had another one. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes.
Like, you've got millions of years ahead of you.
I hope so, yeah. So I guess, yeah, you're right. We're at the 3 stages of our lives here. You know? Aine's starting out. Lorna's accomplished an amazing amount and has had that rewarded in the last year. And I'm sold the business and cruising maybe into retirement. But I think that the day that you stop learning and the day that you stop wanting to help and invest in other people is the last day. You should call it a day at that point. So I think it's really important for your own curiosity and your own sense of life and your own enjoyment to keep learning things and to keep engaging with people and whatever. And I'm in a privileged position where I am able to take some of the things that I've learned over my long career and invest it back into helping women. So I would ask all of you here in the room today to join Mary and I in Awaken Angels. You don't need to be millionaires to invest. You need €2,000 to get started. So go on to our Awaken Angels website and register your interest. And as soon as we get our legals approved in a couple of weeks' time, we'll be back to you all with some exciting opportunities for you to put the money in. Yeah?
I'm very intrigued with your conversation there about angel investors. There's only 6 in the country.
6 in Northern Ireland, that was, yeah.
That's the wealth that's in this country.
And the wealth that's in this room of all you ladies as well.
There's very little awareness for ladies to invest in companies.
Yeah.
More awareness. I haven't heard of your Awaken company. That I think more awareness should be made of what women can invest in, because nowadays people think they can just invest in
Stocks and shares,
from a
or
banking background, and it's stocks and shares and property,
Yeah.
and outside of that they don't think there's anything else to invest their money.
Yeah.
So they leave their thousands and millions sitting in bank accounts that are not doing anything.
Yeah, there's only so many pairs of shoes and handbags that we can buy.
So I think there should be more awareness of what women can do and invest.
So I'm going to tell you all a little story about, so as Claire mentioned, I've made 22 angel investments over the past 7 years. But one of them, when they sold their business, was I got so much money back from that one investment that it's covered all of my other investments. It's called a dragon, if you manage to do that. But that's what I managed to do with one of my exits, paid for all the other investments I've made. So, and you all know that you can get tax incentives against your tax that you're already all paying. So if you invest money, you can get some of that back straight away in the same year against your tax bill, so that you're not actually, if you're investing €20,000, it's maybe only really 10, because you're getting the other 10 straight back against your tax bill. Nobody does, because we did an event in Belfast with 70 ladies, and we mentioned the tax incentives, and nobody at all in the room knew about them. Because you know why? Because wealth advisors don't tell women about this, because they think it's too risky for women to be doing. So, you know, if all of you want to be patronised by your male wealth investment advisors, then, you know, it's time to go to them and say, how can I make money through angel investment, and what are the tax incentives for me? It's time for us to, what we say, rattle our pearls, you know, and open your checkbooks to help other women is what I would urge. Thank you, Claire.
This is the banker. She's going to be taking your notes.
We need you.
Yeah, Patsy is the best banker in all of Dublin, honestly. She's gotten all of us mortgages. Anyone looking for a mortgage? Cut through the red tape. Anyway, but is there anyone else? Now, I'm kind of, please eat your dessert and enjoy it as well. And I'm going to let you have your dessert now as well. Is there anyone else that'd like to ask a question, a burning question? No? Well, listen, ladies, thank you so much, honestly, for your time today. It's just been... It's been really insightful and really enjoyable, great fun, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone. No, not at all. Thank you everyone for being here as well. Just to say, it's the first time we've been able to do this in person. Actually, the first lunch we've hosted for Hear From Her. We're going to have to look at building an extension because we had an oversubscribed list. But I'm looking forward to welcome you all back again next year, hopefully. I just want to say a couple more thank yous to Stephen and the team from Number 25. They are absolutely incredible. They won an award from the Restaurant Association, Best Private Dining and Club last year. They're in the nominations for this year as well, so fingers crossed we'll have 2 in a row. I'd also like to thank the Glandore team, and I can't see anybody. Oh no, there's Donna. I see a couple of people. Thank you so much, Brona and Emanuela, for all your help over the last, takes a long time to organise an event, months. So thank you so much for pulling it all together with me. I want to thank my sister Rebecca. Our older sister is not able to be here today. She's taking her 4 boys on their first overseas holiday. So she's probably wishing she was here today. But I just want to say thank you to Rebecca, and right back at you. I absolutely adore working with you, and I feel really lucky every day to do that. and also just remember as well to look up Siest, to look up Gen Connect You, and obviously Riley as well. But also there's some gorgeous entrepreneurs in the audience as well today. Alt Looker, Julianne Kelly, interiors in Donnybrook, amazing interiors. We're so lucky. Louise Cooney is in the room as well. Clue athleisure wear. So please mingle, don't rush off if you're not having to get back to the office. Enjoy your dessert, finish your glass of wine, and we'll see you next year.